right. Hey, Jordan. So, today is Saturday. It's time for our weekly live stream. We have a couple cool things to talk about. Sort of what I like to do is every week have a weekend live stream. And every 1,000 subscribers, although I may just be cutting it back to every 1,000 pretty soon. And we'll talk a little bit about why in this live stream. But a little bit about me and what I've been up to before we dive into the first topic of the FreeCodeCamp new content release date, and then what I'll be doing later today of building a new computer. So Nagendra, Raphael, welcome. So I went to the company Christmas party last night. I am pretty hungover, so I'm a little bit tired, a little bit Jerry just got done doing a little bit of Christmas shopping for April and myself, as well as for the family, sent some gifts back home. I'm actually really tired because I don't stay up past 11. I don't think I went to bed till 1. Normally I go to bed about 9 o'clock. Shout out to our friends in Croatia, to Cookie, or Cookie. I don't know how you might say it. One thing I would, where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. Anyhow, the reason I do these live streams is I like to be able to help provide. It's really an AMA format where you have questions. I will do my best to answer them. Not necessarily AMA in the traditional sense of, hey, we want to know about you, Dylan, but AMA and like, hey, how can I help you with via some mentoring? How can I help you with a little bit of guidance? So that's why I do these every Saturday, which may come to a end or change because starting on January 1st, which is just 2 weeks away, I will be officially starting school and finishing up my degree through Western Governors University, which I'll be doing a software engineering degree. I have about 33% of the degree done based off transferable credits, and I'm going to start knocking it out. My goal is to get it done in 6 to 9 months, which I think is pretty doable. It's going to cost me between each semester is about $3,500. So we'll see what happens. So I may have to cut back the live streams just a tad bit. Why I am finishing up things. Part of that will really just be so I don't know if I've talked about this too much, but one, I think I can get more money with a degree is why I'm doing it, but it's based off of me being confident. Not that I necessarily need it, but I think down the road it'll definitely open up some doors. Two, I actually plan on, when I retire, being a teacher. So at some point when I am no longer chasing money, it's not a point that I see any time in the near future, but when I say, I got enough money, the house is paid off, or house is, hopefully, let's go actually be one of the 1 in 500 good teachers out there. And so that's going to be 1 in 500 is harsh. 1 in 20 good teachers out there is really kind of my stat. We get about 1 in 20, 1 in 10 if you're lucky at a good school. Shout out to our boy Ricky Garcia, who's killing it. I hope you found whatever it was that you were looking for, man, to kind of reinvigorate you about the grind. I know you're looking a little down. Teaching boot camps are like an adjunct lecturer, a little bit of both. So I could see at some point where I would maybe, if I could make a good income, teaching at a boot camp. That would be something I definitely would be very much so interested in. But I could definitely see myself going and teaching at a college sort of level and going from there. So it's just when the time comes, we'll figure that out. This is something that at the earliest is 10 years off as far as I'm concerned. Realistically 20 before I even am actually in that position. I have no real interest of teaching right now, but it is something that I know I would want to do at some point in time, just because I like the YouTube aspect where we're kind of teaching and we're kind of educating, we're kind of going back and forth. And I've always kind of thought about it, but I never went for it because unfortunately you get paid shit most of the time. And that's why you got to get your money right first, right? So that's kind of the game plan. It also opens up a very easy path for a pension, for benefits, where all of a sudden you can teach as a part-time lecturer out of school. And I say this knowing that a bunch of my professors did exactly this, and then go from there. So that's another thing that comes up with that. Mainly, I just want to get it done and continue on. What is your experience with JavaScript? Well, what do you want to know? I am a front-end developer at my current role, as a full-stack developer at my previous role, and I've done Vanilla.js, I've done jQuery, React, AngularJS. Now I primarily code in the latest version of Angular, which is they're currently now in iteration 5.1. Really, all you have to know is that AngularJS is Angular 1. Everything else is Angular, which is Angular 2+. That's my experience with Angular. I'll be starting I'm probably going to so the way that the program works is competency based, so I can take tests at any time to test out of the program, and I plan to with the they have 2 or 3 web development courses that I want to knock out immediately. But back to the boot camp question. This is something I'm most definitely interested in doing. I've always been a big fan of boot camps, and I always think it's an environment that I would thrive in. I've never gone to a boot camp. I would like to, but there's no reason for me to at this point in my career to go to a boot camp, to pay for it out of pocket. If a boot camp wanted to sponsor me per se, let's say Hack React or Dev Mountain or somebody reached out to me, shout out to the sponsors. If you're interested in boot camp, go devmountain.com, throwing it out there for the homies supporting the channel. But if Dev Mountain wanted to sponsor me, say, hey, you want to come down and take this boot camp, maybe just do a live stream about it here or there, it would be a lot of fun for me, and I would do it. But in reality, would I learn something? Of course I would. But would it make sense for me to take out $10,000 or $15,000 of money out of the bank or loans to do it? No, not really. Just because I'm already established in my career. But it would be a ton of fun, and I totally would do it. A lot of my professors in college were wealthy and self-made and just got bored after retirement. You can have all that money in the world and not feel fulfilled. I believe it. Kelvin, welcome. Any tips for the first job interview for a dev job? Yeah, one, show up looking. I'm going to start with the basics, and then we'll get a little bit more intermediate. So first off, dress professional. Secondly, bring a copy of your resume. Thirdly, practice what it is you're going to say to sell yourself. Okay, so those are the basics. Now, my advice, as a junior, for your first job interview as a junior dev, be more personality driven than anything else. What they're going to be looking for is they're going to make an assumption that you can do a for loop and solve an algorithm, right? That's the assumption. The hope is that you have the drive and the hunger, you're passionate about software development, you study this outside of work, and that you are continuing to learn, and that you want, this is not necessarily more than a job, but something that you really just love to do. And that's because that's what they're looking. They're looking for someone who's passionate and enjoys it as a junior developer and is looking to grow. Any tips for the first job? All right. Why did I stop doing React? I got a job in Angular. That's basically it. The aha moment while learning coding and web dev. So I just did a video this week. I think it was Monday's video saying I'm dreaming about coding. And part of that, I talk about my aha moment. That aha moment was for me was when I started dreaming about the projects I was working on. And that's basically, that was the real, like I go in deep for like 12-15 minutes. So that recently happened again because I've been coding so much and things are starting to click like they've never clicked before. And I would encourage you to go watch that video because that's what a lot of the video is actually about. But yeah, so with React, I was doing the React Now degree. I was really liking it. I had taken that from a practical standpoint of I have AngularJS. Maybe I can get an Angular 2+ role based off that. And then I said, okay, let's look at React. There's a lot of jobs. And then I got a job in Angular 2. And that was really, I had to transition from learning React to Angular 2. And right now, I've really have no interest in picking up React unless I go back on the job market, which I don't foresee happening. I'm very happy at where I'm at. Love the people I'm working with. I'm like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like probably a 9, maybe an 8.5. Which typically I'm like a 6 or a 7, so it's pretty high. As far as I'm concerned about how happy I am with my workplace. So there's no reason for me to learn React. If your boy starts learning React, he's bored and there's issues. How old were you when you learned your first language? This is an interesting question because I don't feel like when I started to code I learned anything. The first time I ever wrote a line of code, not the first time. First time I took one coding course and I forgot about it till like 4 years later. I want to say I was like 25 when I started doing Java. That was what I did Java. I don't do Java anymore. But I guess we could count Java as the first language that I, quote unquote learned. So one thing, I guess it has to be Java just because I had 5 or 6 courses in it that I took and passed. So I guess about 25, 26. Do I still solve problems and algorithms? On occasion, when I get bored, I'll go on code fights and do like 1 or 2, but not like I was. I wasn't doing 100 a month anymore. I was actually hoping that FreeCodeCamp's, and we'll get to this in a second about FreeCodeCamp's new content. I'm going to actually do a video about this, talking about this in a little bit more detail and reviewing what content they have. My recommendations about what is good, what to avoid, how you can expand upon the curriculum, and just sort of review it and talk about it a little bit. But I was hoping that they would add more algorithms and problems because I enjoy that stuff. What is vanilla JavaScript? Vanilla JavaScript just really refers to DOM manipulation before you would move on to like a framework such as Angular, React, or jQuery. And it's stuff like document.getElement by ID instead of using like ng model in Angular. It's the if you've ever played World of Warcraft, you may have heard the term vanilla WoW, and that's essentially the original version of World of Warcraft before all the expansions. And in this case, the expansions are frameworks, and that's kind of that's how I would explain vanilla JavaScript. It's JavaScript before we have added frameworks, and so it's using query selectors and it's using events that are that you're triggering and through classic vanilla JavaScript. What are the steps should a beginner follow to learn web dev? That really depends on the individual and how you plan to learn, but the basic ones are code every day, start projects, build projects, don't just follow tutorials, do tutorials. Don't waste your time on books, in my opinion. Some people may find that controversial. So, do what works best for you is what I would say. But definitely code daily and build your own projects. Code every day until you get a fucking job. Follow that advice, you'll do just fine. Like that's what more, and I by the way, I do mean every day. Code every day until you get a job, and then you can relax a little bit. I want to knock out code fights to prep for interviews, but it gets intense. Yeah, it definitely gets intense. I would encourage you to have projects as well. So like when I do code fights, it does like after I pound my head on a wall for an hour on some of these, all right, I gotta take a break. I'll go do a project or anything else like that. Does it matter which language you start first to learn, like React or Angular or any other in your opinion? I personally think Angular it's a lot more in the beginning, but I think it's a lot cleaner. A lot better organization. I think it does a much better job teaching you how to work with model view controller sort of architecture, and I think that it might be the better version for a entry-level developer, but there's a lot less in React. But because of that, you have to go and find these other 20 pieces a lot of times, while Angular is all sort of one giant package that has all these mini libraries, if you want to think of them that way, that are all maintained by one central location. So that's my opinion. Now you may get a little stuck when you get started with Angular, but I just released a video on Friday. um, doing an entry-level build a random quote machine in Angular to kind of teach you. We go over a little bit, a few things, and then of course I have my course that's a one step up from that, and then I'm working on another course that's going to be a step up from that as well. How do you balance the full stack web dev learning? I see, I'm guessing you're saying front end heavy positions and full stack ones. It really, as a junior, as long as you understand what it is that you're doing, how databases work, how you're going to be storing data, and so on and so forth, it's just a just like anything else. How's April's project management certification going? So she's finished 2 project management courses that I've given her certifications in that, but really those courses are to prepare you for like the PMP, I want to say it, which is a official project management certification, and she'll be taking that sometime this next week. It's been paid for. She just has to go and take it. She got a little bit of a flu this week, and it's kind of throwing her off, but should be good to go. How do you set up a local dev environment on Windows? What do you mean? I've never had to set it up. It just works. It also depends on what is it that you're setting up? Are you setting up a lamp stack? Are you setting up a mean stack? Are you setting up for a front end project? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? That's too broad of a question to answer. What are your views on Colt Steele Udemy's bootcamp course? Well, I have scanned it. I'm not an expert on it. I know that Program with Eric, he has a review of it, and Colt Steele's latest, I believe it's the advanced bootcamp course. I think no matter what, if you go through a course that long and the topics that it touches on, you're going to learn a lot. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you without going through it myself or reviewing it in detail. But some of it, if I remember correctly, the Udemy bootcamp course, the original one, had a lot of jQuery in it. And if that's the case, I'm not really down with the jQueries. I don't think they're great for you as someone trying to learn web dev. Okay, so let's talk about the topic real quick of the day. So FreeCodeCamp recently released a blog saying that when they're hoping to launch their content, and hopefully it's supposed to come out on Christmas, which is super exciting because that would give me like a week to knock out a lot of the content, and I plan to. A week if it actually launches on Christmas. It's a nice little Christmas present. So hopefully the new content on FreeCodeCamp comes out on Christmas. That's the estimated launch date, right? I imagine it'll get pushed back a couple weeks. So that's just how the world works, in my opinion. If your manager / team sucks and are not supportive, you should bail, right? Definitely. So you don't want to stay with a bad work environment, and you don't want to stay in a place that is one of those things where, look, 70% of people hate their job. And as a software developer, you have so many career opportunities that you should just take one and see if it works out better. And maybe during your interview process, as you're there still getting a check while you're working with people that you despise, you can go and try and see if they have some of the same characteristics of the people that you worked with. One of the things that attracted me, the role I took, and mind you, I had an offer that was $15,000 higher at another company, but I turned that down because I liked the people that I was working with, or I would be working with. I loved everyone that I interviewed with here, and my boss's boss, who was interviewing me in the process, said, "How do you know you like the developers? We have 20 plus developers. How have we met?" I was like, 3, and you guys are batting 3 out of 3. Meanwhile, I went to a very large financial institution, and I liked 1 out of 4. And the other 3 looked like they were ready to just take an exit. What's wrong with jQuery? jQuery is not going to get you a job. React or Angular will. That's really it. So that's the gist of it. But yeah, jQuery is for web designers, not web developers at this point in time, is how I would put it, I think. And web designers are going to have a very hard time when it comes to things like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress. Those are the people that are kind of getting kicked out. Are you doing your New Year resolution thing anytime soon? Are you talking about my video? Talking about my New Year's resolutions? Yeah, I was thinking about it. I don't know if people actually care. So, I don't know. I know the basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node, Express, and MongoDB, but I still feel like I don't know anything. How do I overcome that? Well, are you building things? Do you have full stack projects that you have built not following a tutorial? That would be my first question. Should I go for Treehouse or Udemy Cult Steel Bootcamp? I am confused. You should do both. Dude, the more the better. Yeah, and I mean, I recently did a video talking about the top skills that you need as a front-end developer, and I had the you must have skills, which are about 7 or 8. These are the things that you absolutely have to have, and the supplemental skills that will help you. And I threw jQuery in the supplemental skills for that exact reason. Yeah, so my computer's been breaking for a while, and I am buying a new one as a Christmas present to myself. There was one at Costco that I liked that was about $1,200, but I'm gonna go on like CyberPower and iBuyPower and see if I can build a custom one that is going to be as good, if not better, for cheaper. I doubt it will be, but that's something that I'll be doing today as well. Am I gonna see the new Star Wars? Yes, later today actually. I am taking April out on a date, and we are going to go see Star Wars. How's your JavaScript course for Udemy coming along? I am, so it's 5 hours long, but I need to do projects for it. I wasn't planning on it, but I know I should. So that's really where the holdup is. I have 5 hours of content going over, ooh, hey Tito, going over things. So it's just one of those things where I have to kind of, Tito, what are you doing, buddy? It's just one of those things where I have to go in and get better at it, and just I have to make it the quality that I want, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and to do that it takes time. So originally I was thinking about maybe throwing it out for free. Did I talk about the new PC? Well, I am building one. The one I was looking at that was $1,200. It was a Dell. It had a 256 SD drive with a 2 terabyte hard drive. It also had a i7 quad core, like 3.7 processor. It came with a GTX 1060 Ti. I'm not worried about the graphics card because I'm going to throw my 1080 Ti in there also. That's also going to allow me to get 2 extra monitors, so I'll have 6 monitors on there. And then it had 24 gigs of RAM. I'm trying to think what else. So that's the gist of what I'm looking for. I'll probably, if I build it custom, I will be going to 32 gigs of RAM just because. And then I'm not sure about the quad core aspect. That was kind of the one thing I didn't like because I currently have an 8-core processor and it's great. It's 4.4 gigahertz 8-core processor, but unfortunately I've had it for like 3-4 years and it's essentially burnt out. Why don't you build it from parts? Cheaper and fun. It's fun. I don't have the time. Part of it is I just want someone to build what I want, and I need to have it done in the next week or so. That's really it. Hey, no problem, mystery dude, druid. But yeah, I mean, I know everyone's gonna talk shit on buying a Dell, but honestly, I don't have a problem with buying mainstream computers if it does what I need it to do. It's really the quad core aspect that concerns me. I would prefer an 8-core processor. Um, so we'll see. I did some contracting work for my old work. So here's the deal. I'm currently saving to buy a house, and I have the money to buy it. I'm waiting for April to get a job, but I'm also going back to school, so I'm kind of like figuring out where I need to. I'm hesitant to spend money, but on a computer, on my setup, like this is where this makes me money. So like in terms of I can do contract work, I can do YouTube, I can do courses, build courses, all this sort of stuff. Like if there's anywhere that I do spend money, it's on the setup, right? So I got like the 4K monitors. I'm gonna go get two more 4K monitors. They're actually on sale right now. Did I drop out of school? Yes, I did. Back in about a year and a half. No. 2 years ago. 2 years ago was when I did that. And my life has never been better. Just for the record. Not to encourage people to drop out. I actually told my tech lead that I'm going back to school, and he told me that it was a bad idea. He said you could do better and make more money not doing it. What's your major? I'm going back for software engineering. Yeah, well, we'll see. I may settle for a quad core, but I mean, you have to understand, I'm oftentimes streaming, coding, got some browsers up. I have a video encoding. It's just one of those things. How long will it take you to complete the degree? It depends on how many hours I put in. The degree is in such a fact that you can take competency. It's competency based without so like you can take tests at any point for almost any of the courses to test out of the content, if you know it. You got your first job as a developer without a degree? Yes, I got all my jobs as a developer without a degree. I don't have a degree. And also, so like I've had this computer for like 4 or 5 years. I don't want to have to get another computer 2 years from now because I was like, oh man, I should have got the 8-core. So that's just one of the things is, which language do I like most? JavaScript, because that's pretty much all I code in. Although if we want to make a distinction, I will say I love TypeScript. Are you going to school so it looks good on paper mostly? It's a combination of that. It's a combination of it'll make me more confident if I want to. It might be one of those things where my confidence will lead me to more money, and also you know, just I think it will pay for itself. I'll be done within a year at the latest. And to essentially make it easier for me to make more money as in a management role. I have no problem getting junior level roles, senior level roles soon. That's not going to do anything for me. I'm just going to keep doing that. But if I want to go to management and I want to get those fat checks, might be one of those things that would help. There's, you know, that's kind of how I look at it. And also to teach later on when I'm retired, so might as well do it earlier than later. I have the money to do it now. I have the time to do it now. I don't have any kids. You know. So it's just one of those things that And time-wise, now is a good time to do it if I'm going to do it. Yeah, Matt's going to give me shit about it, though. Still dreaming of code? Not this last week, because I haven't been coding as much. Am I already looking into management? Just preparing for the future, man. No one's going to give me a management role right now. But there's no reason you shouldn't prepare for the future. The guys who prepared, so when I think I am deserving, I'll be prepared to take such roles. What's the best way to learn JavaScript? Build things. God, it is like 1,000,000 degrees, and I have this cat who is just throwing his body into me. Is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills really enough for an entry-level front-end job? No. That's why I have 7 skills that are on the top skills you need for a front-end developer role. And then supplemental skills as well. I mean, that's the core. That's the core because that's front-end web development. But there are other things, frameworks, Git. So I'd encourage you to watch that video and go from there. Is there any way to get into a management position without being a developer first? It depends. There's a lot of management positions out there. You could do project management. You could do business analyst and just have be it. It depends. But if you're trying to be like a manager of a developers, I'd imagine no. I imagine that's going to be hard. But nothing's impossible. But I imagine it is going to be hard. Oh, come here, fat cat. Oh, oh. Hey, buddy. Where do you stand on net neutrality? I stand that we got screwed over by the FCC, and that it's going to hurt startups and it's going to hurt consumers. What's a day at my current job? I am gathering requirements. I am building things. I'm updating things. I do a lot of greenfield development right now where I'm just starting new projects from the get-go. You didn't get my answer about Treehouse or Cold Steel. I said do both. Have I done any projects for college and how much? You don't do projects in college. What you do is algorithms. You solve algorithms. You'll spend 2 years console logging out bullshit. You might get 1 or 2, if you ever get to a web dev Java course or C# course, you might build something there. Yeah, Raj, it's hard to compare. You're comparing two things. You're comparing apples to oranges. They're both fruit, but they're not the same type of fruit, right? You're talking about a course that you're buying one time for $15 that has limited content versus an entire platform that has interactive tutorials and videos, and they're constantly updating it. So you can't really compare the two, but it would be fine to do both. What are you doing? I'm good, man. I'm a little tired because I was up late at a Christmas holiday party, Beautiful building, man. We have this top floor at work, and there's a fireplace and like a patio fireplace, and then there's a fountain around it, and then there's like it's gorgeous, and it's right on the port. I have a question for you. I have a degree in mathematics. Do I still need a CS degree? No. I mean, honestly, a degree in mathematics is fine. You just need to learn to code at this point. How do you render local images in React or Angular? In Angular, you have to throw it into a disk. You have to fold it. You have to throw it into a certain folder, and then you have to import that file into your application. You have to throw it into. So what happens is. Angular. What happens is Webpack takes Angular. You have a folder called assets that you can put your content in there, whatever, and then you need to import that file into your component where you're using the image based off its correct path. And then when you actually call it to use, it would be assets / that image name. And it's going to dynamically render. This could be different because I haven't done it with the Angular CLI. I use custom build tools, but it's going to dynamically render a UUID for that in place of that, which in reality what you may want is its actual path. Is FreeCodeCamp worth the time? I believe so. It's one of the reasons I got to learn JavaScript. Can I refer a book to you for JavaScript? No, not really. Same for you, fat cat. Same for you, fat cat. Oh my god. Fuck God. I think Angular is easier long term than React. Although I think both are great. I really do. What happened to the series where you look at people's portfolio? I did that the other day. I don't know if I ever made a series out of it. I think I just answered them. Do I enjoy my work? I love my work, man. It's challenging. It's fun. I'm compensated well. Can't really ask for more than that. I work with great people. I love being a software developer. I really do. With React, you do more vanilla. Is that true? Yes. React is kind of structured in a way in which it wants you, instead of doing like a for loop, you'll map things out. Like it tries to have you use more JavaScript within it. Christmas trees everywhere. What do you do on Christmas? April and I we have our presents for ourselves that we bought under the tree. Any presents sent to us, we already opened because we have no self-control. And then we'll open the presents and set it up around the house, and we will watch Home Alone 2, which is a tradition in the house. Fat cat, fat cat. When am I buying some Bitcoin? Hey, man. Your boy's trying to buy a house. He ain't got time to give away money. I mean, look at this cat. Do you know how many cans of food 3 cats eat a day? Damn near bankrupt off these little chubs. Yeah, we have dry food down all the time. Tito, you don't want any of that. Yeah. What back-end technology do you recommend? I recommend you figuring out which one is most in demand. I like using Node because it's just straight up JavaScript. I can get up and going, but it's probably not the best to find jobs. There's a lot of C# backend roles, but then there's PHP, which I hate, but there's a lot of jobs for it. I have to admit that there's a lot of jobs for PHP, but I hate it. So. But I recommend C#. Have a good one, Christ Center Dev. All right, guys, let's wrap up this this AMA live stream. Normally go for a little bit of an hour, but I'm tired. I got to order a PC. Got life to live, right? So I want to thank everybody for showing up for the Saturday weekend live streams. I'll do my best to try and keep out putting out videos. If you want to support me, you can by joining Patreon, patreon.com/codingtutorials360. You of course can watch the videos, like, subscribe, and share them. It's one of the best things that you can do is share a video. It helps me out a ton. It exposes new people to the channel. And of course you can buy the courses that I have. There's descriptions and the links for all that. I appreciate you all. I hope that you all are having a wonderful weekend. I am going to get back to my grind and just try and keep on keeping on. I look forward to hopefully doing some free code camp over the holiday week when it comes. Hopefully it gets released on time. I'm excited for that. So I'll see you guys next time.